U.S. Representative Joe Wilson, a member of the Republican Party, has introduced a bill that would grant President Donald Trump the authority to supply weapons to Ukraine under a Lend-Lease program. The bill has already been registered in the U.S. Congress, but must go through several stages before becoming law. It must gain majority support in Congress, secure at least 60% of votes in the Senate, and only then can it be signed into law by President Donald Trump.
Grateful to introduce the Freedom First Lend-Lease Act as H.R. 1158. War criminal Putin understands only the language of force. We must give President Trump the authority to massively and quickly arm Ukraine with war-winning weapons to get Russia to the table. Peace through strength. Joe Wilson, United States Representative, on social network X.
The concept of peace through strength aligns with the stance of the new U.S. administration. According to Reuters, the United States is pushing its European allies to increase purchases of American-made weapons for transfer to Ukraine. This could strengthen Kyiv's position in potential negotiations with Moscow. Analysts point out that Donald Trump had already advocated for increasing arms purchases during his first term. However, at that time, European countries had not yet fully grasped the scale of the Russian threat.
Back then, Germany's main criticism wasn't about not wanting to pay, but rather that European countries were being pushed to buy American weapons at exorbitant prices. We know that American weaponry is not only among the best, but also among the most expensive. Countries like France and Germany wanted to boost their own defense industries instead.
European nations are playing an increasingly significant role in supporting Ukraine, both financially and militarily. That's why, for the first time, the 26th meeting of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group in Ramstein format on February 12 is being chaired by the United Kingdom rather than the United States. The Pentagon has confirmed that U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth will present Washington at the meeting and will emphasize the need for stronger European leadership in security assistance to Ukraine.
Trump is serious about shifting more security responsibilities onto Europe, while the U.S. continues to support European integration and its aspirations to become an independent defense hub. The primary focus remains on NATO. European defense initiatives, on the other hand, have often been more symbolic than substantive.
President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has stressed the importance of maintaining the Ramstein format to ensure continued support from Ukraine's partners. He noted that the key outcome of the upcoming meeting will be the scale of military aid provided to Kyiv.
The main result of Ramstein is, of course, the collective assistance to Ukraine. It's about the number of aid packages our partners are providing, specific weapons, specific support.
Since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, EU nations have recognized the extent of the threat posed by Moscow. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen recently stated that the stakes go beyond Ukraine's fate. Europe's future is also on the line. She emphasized that arms and ammunition deliveries to Ukraine will accelerate in the coming weeks. Since February 24, 2022, the European Union has provided Ukraine with a total of 134 billion euros in assistance. Reported by Sergei Kulyas, Mykita Skoblikov, UATV News.
Russia's war against Ukraine may be over within a few months. This was announced by United States Special Envoy for Ukraine and Russia Kit Kellogg. Previously, Bloomberg sources reported that a plan to end fighting would be presented at the Munich Security Conference on 14 and 16 February. However, Kellogg denied this information, saying that when the time comes, Trump will personally present the plan. The President of the United States has emphasized that he is in contact with both Moscow and Kyiv.
We are having very good talks, very constructive talks on Ukraine. And we are talking to the Russians. We're talking to the Ukrainian leadership. I want to see that end. And I want to see it end for one simple reason: the life of young people being absolutely obliterated on both sides. This is an absolute slaughter that's taking place on the beautiful farmlands of Ukraine, and we have to stop it.
The White House has also prioritized the creation of leverage over Moscow in the preparation of peace talks. On 10 January, the administration of the previous U.S. President Joe Biden introduced a large-scale package of sanctions targeting Russia's oil and gas sector. On the 7th of February, Bloomberg reported that the restrictions are already bringing the first results, and the price per barrel of Russian oil has fallen below $60. This mark is referred to as a paying their toll for the economy of the aggressor country. Trump's team admits to increasing pressure in this industry.
The pressure just can't be military. You have to put economic pressure, you have to put diplomatic pressure, some type of military pressures and levers that you're going to use underneath those to make sure this goes where we want it to go. You could really increase the sanctions, especially the latest sanctions targeting oil production and exports. It's opened the aperture way high to do something. Keith Kellogg, United States Special Envoy for Ukraine and Russia, in an interview with the New York Post.
Washington's pressure is already pushing Russia to take part in the talks, experts believe. Since Donald Trump's inauguration, the Kremlin has repeatedly stated its supposed readiness to take part in them. Earlier, Putin said that because the 5-year term of the Ukrainian president had come to an end, he allegedly could not participate in the talks. Now Moscow is ready to ignore this fact. Analysts say the Russian Federation's willingness to negotiate adds concretization to the peace progress.
Lately, there has been no ultimatum from Russia, and that's because Trump has sent quite a few tough signals to Moscow. Either you agree to negotiations in a peaceful way, or things will take a turn for the worse. He also outlined some pressure tools on Russia. Additionally, it's clear that Putin wants negotiations with Trump and is even willing to engage in talks with Zelenskyy for that reason. So there are already clear signs of progress from Russia. Russia is ready for negotiations without any preconditions or ultimatums, at least for now.
A peace plan to end Russia's war against Ukraine will be developed exclusively with Kyiv participation. This was stated by Volodymyr Zelenskyy. According to him, this issue was discussed with Trump even before its inauguration. Also, the president of Ukraine urged not to pay attention to various throw-ins about the draft peace plan and wait for the official results. Reported by Alexander Zaslavets and Rid Dmitrenko, UATV News.
Russia's energy sector is losing its last remaining markets as India and China look for new oil suppliers. According to Reuters, citing trader data, this shift is driven by U.S. sanctions imposed on January 10th. These sanctions targeted two of Russia's 4 largest oil companies, Gazpromneft and Surgutneftegas, as well as over 180 tankers that violated sanction regulations. As a result, oil prices have fluctuated sharply. Washington has demanded that India offload Russian oil tankers already at sea by February 27th and complete payments by March 12th. Meanwhile, in China, Russian oil shipments are facing delays in unloading, despite a temporary exemption from sanctions.
These sanctions certainly target both Russian oil and LNG, and we expect our actions to cost Russia upwards to billions of dollars per month.
There will be some significant disruption to Russian flows, at least initially. We think that could be up to 1 million barrels a day of Russian crude exports that are disrupted, at least at first. I think that will feed through into higher refining margins and then into higher end product prices for consumers.
Russia's chances of restoring its pipeline gas exports are also dwindling. Since January 1st, Ukraine has halted the transit of Russian gas through its territory, citing national security concerns. Meanwhile, Russia's main European buyers, Slovakia and Austria, have already secured alternative supply routes. The Kremlin is also facing major setbacks with the Nord Stream pipelines. In addition to sanctions, most of the pipeline infrastructure has been damaged and remains inoperative.
I can only hope that European leaders will learn lessons from Russia's aggression against Ukraine, and that they will push through a decision to never restore the pumping of gas through this pipeline. I believe the Nord Stream pipelines should be dismantled. This pipeline causes a very big threat to Ukraine, to Poland, to Slovakia, but also to other Central European countries. Andrzej Duda, president of Poland, in the commentary of the BBC.
However, the Kremlin still has loopholes for making money on energy resources. EU countries are still purchasing Russian liquefied natural gas, with Germany leading in imports, followed by France, Belgium and Spain.
In 2024, Russia exported 33.6 million tons of liquefied natural gas, 4% more than in 2023. The previous record was set in 2022, when Russia exported 32.9 million tons of LNG. Additionally, in December last year, Russia set a new record for monthly LNG shipments, delivering 3.25 million tons to international markets, writes Radio Free Europe.
It is the strike on the Russian energy sector that is the lure Donald Trump plans to use to bring dictator Putin to peace. Oil prices have already fallen following Trump's calls for a review of pricing policies. However, Trump reiterated his call for the Organization of Exporting Countries to reduce crude oil prices. Reported by Sergey Kulyas, Larissa Petruk, UATV News.